Go button. Somebody got a biscuit in your seat. All right. Yeah. All right. We'll get started here. For one, I got to ask you guys, I know this is different. We've been doing it a few weeks. I don't know, a couple months. Time goes by. Do you guys like this style? The reason I ask it, it seems like no matter what I do, we get less and less people coming.
Are we on camera?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think if I stood up here and gave out $100 bills, I still couldn't get nobody to show up.
No. Not if they had to stand up and
Yeah.
bring it to them.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess maybe talking about this a little bit today, but you know, there are a lot of everything is vying for your attention. Everything in this world is vying for your attention. And the sad thing about it is most people, because of society, it's not the way God designed us. Most people can't pay attention more than 3 or 4 minutes. That's about the length of a Facebook post or a TikTok video. And so unless you have something that's very, very, very exciting, it's hard to keep up. And then when you get into the very exciting stuff, then you have no real learning. And I don't know about you guys, but most of life is probably boring and mundane. And, you know, you don't want to come to church and have it be boring and mundane. But honest to God, I really do put in the effort to bring the best that I got to you. Whether you believe it or not, this is not something that I make up on a Sunday morning.
I will tell you that you've had one of the best I've ever heard before, and that's
The chicken.
I enjoyed that.
I mean, Tracy's a witness now. She knows, and she can tell you where I spend most of my evenings, sitting at the kitchen table. She'll say, "You going to sit with me once?" I'm sitting at the kitchen table. And even though nobody watches or listens, I really try to bring the best that I can because, well, there's just so much. I mean, my God, I would love to share with you things that would just blow your minds. But anyway, let's get to the daily reading, just so we can hear these Psalms. Anybody know what the daily reading of Psalms is today? Psalm 42 and Psalm 43. Let's read those. As the deer pants for the water brooks, so my soul pants for you, God. My soul thirsts for God, for the living God. Wouldn't you like to have a bunch of people that this was their heart? My soul thirsts for God, for the living God. When shall I come and appear before God? My tears have been my food day and night, while they say to me all day long, where is your God? I remember these things and pour out my soul within me. For I used to go over with the multitude and walk them to the house of God with a voice of joy and thanksgiving, a multitude celebrating a festival. Why are you in despair, my soul, and why are you restless within me? Wait for God, for I will again praise him, for the help of his presence, my God. My soul is in despair within me. Therefore I remember you from the land of Jordan and the peaks of Hermon, and from Mount Mizar. Deep calls to deep at the sound of your waterfalls. All your breakers and your waves have passed over me. The Lord will send his goodness in the daytime, and his song will be with me in the night, a prayer to the God of my life. I will say to God, my rock, why have you forgotten me? Why do I go about mourning because of the oppression of the enemy? As a shattering of my bones, my adversaries taunt me, while they say to me all day long, where is your God? Why are you in despair, my soul? And why are you restless within me? Wait for God, for I will again praise him for the help of his presence, my God. Does this sound like somebody that's really got it going on? Sounds like somebody in mighty despair. Yeah. And Psalm 43, vindicate me, God, and plead my case against the ungodly nation. Save me from the deceitful and unjust person. For you are the God of my strength. Why have you rejected me? Why do I go about mourning because of the oppression of the enemy? Send out your light and your truth. They shall lead me. They shall bring me to your holy hill and to your dwelling places. Then I will go to the altar of God. To God my exceeding joy, and I will praise you on the lyre, God my God. Why are you in despair, my soul, and why are you restless within me? Wait for God, for I will again praise him for the help of his presence, my God. That's the way the other psalm ended too, for the help of his presence, my God. Vindicate me. Sounds like both of them are in pretty dire straits. Now, just a quick question. Does anybody know what the daily reading is today? I'm trying to make good Catholics out of you guys. Actually, what the daily reading is not from the Catholics, but
I thought you were going to say Apostles' Creed.
Apostles' Creed, yeah. But this is actually not Catholic, but it's the daily reading for evangelicals. Does anybody know what the daily reading is? Don't everybody speak up. Nobody knows what the daily reading is? No? Is Kathy looking it up? Oh yeah, there are. It's out of the Book of Common Prayer. The Book of Common Prayer. Okay, let me pull it up here for you. You guys need to get this app, put it on your phones. Daily Office. Huh? I've got the Book of Common Prayer, Daily Office, yeah. Psalm 42, Psalm 43. Okay. You got it? Did you see what the daily reading is today from the... Oh, okay. It says, a reading from the book of Judith, beginning in the 10th chapter.
Judah.
That's what I thought he said.
Uh-huh.
So I said, did you get a lift?
No. You want me to read it to you? When Judith had stopped crying out to the God of Israel and ended all these words, she rose from where she lay prostrate. She called her maid and went down into the house where she lived on the Sabbath and on her festal days. She removed the sackcloth she had been wearing, took off her widow's garments, bathed her body with water, anointed herself with precious ointment. She combed her hair, put on a tiara, and dressed herself in the festive attire that she used to wear while her husband Manasseh was living. She put sandals on her feet and put on her anklets, bracelets, rings, earrings, and all other jewelry. Thus she made herself very beautiful to entice the eyes of the men who might see her. She gave her maid a skin of wine and a flask of oil, and filled a bag with roasted grain, dried fig cakes, and fine bread. Then she wrapped up all her dishes and gave them to her gave them to her to carry. They went out to the town to the gate of Bethula and found Uzziah standing there with the elders of the town, Chabrias and Charmas. And when they saw her transformed in appearance and dressed differently, they were greatly astounded at her beauty and said to her, "May the God of our ancestors grant you favor and fulfill your plans so that the people of Israel may glory and Jerusalem may be exalted." She bowed down to God. Then she said to them, "Order the gate of the town to be opened for me so that I may go out and accomplish the things you have just said to me." So they ordered the young men to open the gate for her as she requested. When they done this, Judith went out accompanied by her maid. The men of the town watched her until she had gone down the mountain and passed through the valley, where they lost sight of her. As the women were going straight through the valley, an Assyrian patrol met her and took her into custody. They asked her, "To what people do you belong, and where are you coming from, and where are you going?" She replied, "I'm a daughter of the Hebrews. I'm fleeing from them, for they are about to be handed over to be devoured. And I'm on my way to see Holofernes, the commander of your army." He was an Assyrian. "To give him a true report. I will show him a way by which he can go and capture all the hill country without losing one of his men captured slain." And when the men heard her words and observed her face, she was in their eyes marvelously beautiful. They said to her, "You have saved your life by hurrying down to see our Lord. Go at once to his tent. Some of us will escort you and hand you over to him. And when you stand before him, have no fear in your heart, but tell him what you have just said, and he will treat you well." And they chose from their number 100 men to accompany her with her maid, and they brought them to the tent of Holofernes. There was great excitement in the whole camp, and her arrival was reported from tent to tent. They came and gathered around her as she stood outside the tent. Holofernes was waiting until they told him about her. They marveled at her beauty and admired the Israelites, judging them by her. They said to one another, "Who can despise these people, who have a woman like this among them? It is not wise to leave one of their men alive, for if we let them go, they will be able to beguile the whole world." Then the guards of Holofernes and all of the servants came out and led her into the tent. And he was resting on his bed under the canopy that was woven with purple and gold and emeralds and other precious stones. And when they told him of her, he came to the front of the tent with silver lamps carried before him. And when Judith came into the presence of Holofernes and his servants, they all marveled at the beauty of her face. And she prostrated herself and did obeisance to him. But his slaves raised her up. That's the end of the reading. So, you guys have never read the book of Judith before. It's in the Bible. Yes, it is. It's in the original King James. It was taken out later by the Protestant people. But, yeah, it's Judith. If you want to know, it says right here, she was a devout, beautiful Jewish widow. She was married to Manasseh, known for her courage and faith. In this story, the Syrian army is about to take over, about to wipe out Israel. She goes down into the tent, as we just read, and she ends up cutting Holofernes' head off and brings it back to Israel. Now, does this sound like any other story? Go read the book of Judges. Remember, he comes in, she gives him some milk, and he goes to sleep, and she takes a tent peg, drives it through his skull, through his temple. So, I mean, again, why this book is taken out, I don't know, but for everybody says King James only, this is in the King James, in the original King James, 1611 version. But it was taken out later in the revised version of the 1700s. So for all the King James only people, you should know about the book of Judith. So, about a widow woman, a lot of widows, huh? Huh? You never heard of Judith? She was in The Walking Dead. Yeah, she was Rick's daughter. So now you know where this name's come from, because she is really bold and tough. Judith. All right. So we're going to be in Mark's Gospel today, chapter 1, verse 21 through 28. Let me read that. Just a few verses here. And then we'll go back and talk about this. They went into Capernaum, and immediately on the Sabbath, Jesus entered the synagogue and began to teach. They were amazed at his teaching, for he was teaching them as one having authority and not as the scribes. Just then there was a man in their synagogue with an unclean spirit, and he cried out, saying, "What business do you have with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God." And Jesus rebuked him, saying, "Be quiet, come out of him." And after throwing him into convulsions and crying out with a loud voice, the unclean spirit came out of him. They were all amazed, so they debated among themselves, saying, "What is this? A new teaching with authority. He commands even the unclean spirits, and they obey him." And immediately the news about him spread everywhere into all the surrounding region of Galilee. I like that little part. Be quiet, come out of him. So anyway, just that reading right there. First I'll ask, what are your guys' take on this? Any quick observations? I mean, this is pretty common, right? I mean, when was the last time you guys went to church? Some uninvited stranger comes into the church, walks in, takes over the pulpit, starts casting out demons from somebody. I mean, it's pretty common. You guys don't seem too amazed about it. I mean, does this happen every Sunday? You guys just come to church, somebody off the street walks in, preaches with authority, casts out demons. I mean, this is right in chapter 1 of Mark's Gospel, so it ought to just slap us upside the head and say, wait a minute. I mean, uh-huh. So, I mean, here's just a quick observation. I want to ask every one of you, how many exorcisms have you guys witnessed in the last month? No exorcisms? So, I mean, this ought to, well, let me ask you a question. How many exorcisms have you guys witnessed? I mean, no exorcisms? I mean, obviously, I asked you guys, right, what stands out, you know, what gets you. And you guys have never witnessed an exorcism, but right in this story here, we got an exorcism, but it just doesn't seem to jump off the page at you. To me, it kind of jumps off because I've watched the movies. I've seen the heads turn all the way around and the green pea juice and, you know, all of this other stuff. But to me, it's not a common thing. Maybe you guys have witnessed somebody throwing himself on the floor in convulsions as demons have come out of him. Maybe that's pretty common. Huh? They were kind of amazed. Well, see, right out of the gate, the people with the story are amazed, but see, we just read them as words on the page and move on to see how much reading we can get in. And I want the story to amaze us and bring us into the story and say, what in the heck is going on here? This is wild stuff here, because I don't know about you, but I've never witnessed an exorcism. I've seen some people throw themselves in the floor a couple times. You know, Walmart's the little kids, they want something, and, you know, I didn't really call that a demon possession. I call that a spoiled, but could be, yeah. So in this story in Mark's Gospel, Jesus goes into a synagogue, into a church service, teaches with authority. The listeners are astonished, they're astounded, cast out an unclean spirit, and then it says, and news about him spread where he becomes famous. So my question is, can y'all relate? You're out. Yeah. But, I mean, with this story, can you relate with this story? Well, honestly, I'm having trouble relating with this story because this is not my Sunday kind of service kind of deal, you know. I wish we did have sometimes. Maybe people would show up and say, my God. Yeah. So right out of the gate, this is a tough story, right? And then here's the question of this story. Knowing the characters in the story, how might we imagine our way into the story? How are you going to be a part of the story? I mean, because each one of these, what I've been trying to say, each one of these little stories, there's a doorway, an avenue for you to come into this story. And when you come into the story, you're not just reading it on the page. It actually becomes life-giving and amazing and all of these things transformative. If we just read them as words on the page, we read them as words on the page. I asked you guys a question and I didn't get one response. Why? Because they're just words on the page. But if you're sitting in that audience, now we might have a different story. So now you are invited into this story. Now how are we going to go into this story? To me, I mean, there's a few characters here we can begin with. Just looking at the characters, who we got. We got the people in the synagogue, right? You got the guy that's demon-possessed. You got Jesus, right? So if we're going to go into this story, probably the first avenue for us to go in is probably people in the synagogue, right? Because none of us are demon-possessed. I don't know why yeah. Okay. So let's get this. So let's enter this story as one in the synagogue. Okay. One in the synagogue. Now, what day of the week did this take place? Sabbath, which was what day? Saturday. Okay, so let's back up to Friday. So you've prepared for the Sabbath. This is a big deal, right? You've prepared all day. As a matter of fact, Sabbath wasn't something, a side note. This was something you look forward to. Amazing. They look forward to it because their family would come over. They rest and you know, they prepared for the Sabbath. So the Sabbath every Saturday was a joyous time. So you've prepared for this. It wasn't just, hey, guess what? It's Sabbath 0:30. It's something that you look forward to. You prepared for it. I mean, imagine having Christmas every week. This is how exciting Sabbath was to these people. Okay? So you've had a wonderful, joyous meal on Friday evening with your family. I mean, you've lit the candles, part of the Sabbath stuff. You've walked Friday evening to the synagogue for evening prayers. This is why I'm asking you guys about the daily reading. I don't know, as Protestants, we don't want to do morning prayers and afternoon prayers and evening prayers. That's too much. You're just supposed to pray when prompted without letting prayer become a part of your ritual, if you will, because we're Protestants. But if you get into the habit of this daily reading and daily prayer, it will affect you positively. But you've done these things. You've lit the candles. You've walked with your family for evening prayers. You've slept great. You got up in the morning, man, you feel rested. You're relaxed. Your family all gets ready. You head back to synagogue. Synagogue's not more than a half mile because you can't walk that far on a Sabbath. You go there for a nice, relaxed morning service. You go there to hear the daily reading, the things I'm giving you guys. Guys, they were doing daily reading all the way back then. I want you to understand that. I'm not making this up. They were doing daily reading back then. And all of that honestly helps keep everyone in tune. I mean, if you understand that, I mean, we can be playing a song up there and Jeff knows immediately my guitar's out of tune. It's like, wait a minute, we can't go on if we're not in tune. So the daily reading helps bring all of us Christians together in tune, if you can understand it that way. So it's important. Okay, so they're doing that. They're coming for a relaxed morning service, hear daily reading and the special prayers. And then this guy who's not famous, we don't know who he is. He becomes famous after this. Jesus of Nazareth, this guy shows up, right? Now, again, we trying to align ourselves with those who showed up, the congregation, or maybe the man. Can we align ourselves with the man possessed here with the unclean spirit? Or can we even experience the story through Jesus' eyes? Each one of these role plays with, they'll pierce us in a different ways. So we got 3 different ways that our heart here can be pricked, if you will. So let's look at the first one, the audience. Now, what's some of the names of the people in the audience? Anybody? Yeah. Well, honestly, in the story, we don't know. We don't know. So if we don't know their names, then who are they? Just common folks. Just folks that we don't even know their name. They're just folks that show up on a Sunday, on a Saturday, Sabbath morning. They're just folks here in Capernaum. Yeah, probably. All we know here from the text is they show up in the synagogue on the Sabbath. They listen to Jesus teach, and then what's the result of Jesus teaching? They're amazed, astonished. My God, we never heard nothing like that. Nobody's ever spoken this. My God, who is this guy? And Jesus, wow. Right? Now, do you guys have trouble relating to that kind of story? Because I do. Do you have trouble relating to that story? You go to church and you hear Jesus preach and you leave astonished. When's the last time you left here astonished? Amazed. Oh my God, that was wonderful. I don't know. I've never heard nothing like, whoo, that was awesome. I mean, do you guys leave that way every Sunday?
3 weeks ago.
Huh. Probably never. So, honestly, I mean, imagine. So I have trouble relating to this because this is not how I leave every Sunday. Now, can you remember the last time that you were astonished and amazed by Jesus? Not me, but I mean, honestly, when was the last time you were astonished, amazed? We just read the Psalms. When was the last time you were over the top, over the moon, head over heels with Jesus? I mean, honestly. I mean, this was their mindset when they left that service today. My God. And honestly, I've had a few of those, but they're few and far between. I mean, some of them that are just, oh my God, this is flat amazing. I mean, this is the most astounding thing I've ever seen or heard in my life. Now, maybe churches around here have that every Sunday. Maybe we all need to go there because it's not my experience. Honest to God, it's not, because like I said, I've had a couple of those, and they're up here, and everything else pales in comparison. And I'm not talking about getting excited like watching a football game or something and get excited because your team wins. There's a huge difference. So I have a little trouble relating to this story. So if I have trouble relating with the people in the congregation going and being astounded or amazed, then maybe what's another avenue that I can be a partaker of this story? Yeah. I mean, honestly, one of the things that I want to do when we read these stories, guys, is be honest. Be honest. I mean, honest and truthfully, most of the times when we go for our daily readings and our church services, we're not leaving, turning flips out into the parking lot saying this is the greatest thing ever. I mean, I wished it was that way, but it's not that way. We got to be honest about it. And for those who do have that, I would say most of it's fluff. And it's not really really real. And one of the ways I know is because the demon come out of this guy. And a lot of times when I've seen all the fluff and the excitement and the shouting, the people come next Sunday and that demon is right back with them. You understand what I'm saying? You can be excited and still have it. So anyway, now, according to Mark's gospel, the people who hear Jesus in the synagogue are amazed. Now, why are they amazed? Because he comes with, now look down there in verse 27. He comes with a new teaching and with authority. And I mean, a new teaching and have one with authority. So the implication here is that Jesus' audience is open to wonder and newness. Now think about that. One of the things they hear Jesus in a brand new way is they're open to newness and wonder. Do you know, guys, this is one of the reasons why we don't hear much. Honestly, all of us, is because we already know what Jesus looks like, what he's going to say, what he's going to do, who he loves, who he don't love, who's in his church, who's out of his church, who the best is, who the ugliest is. We already know. When he comes with something new, we don't hear. These people were open. And I just wonder if their openness is because they've had such a good Sabbath or preparation for the Sabbath. Again, what are we Protestants told about the Sabbath? Well, keep it holy, but I mean, what is your practice? We don't do it. So anything that the Bible says that we should be doing, we as Protestants say, I'm not doing that. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like, it's like, oh, my God, you got up this morning and read a daily prayer? You're weird. You got up this morning and read your Bible? You're weird. We don't do that. We're Protestants. We just let the Holy Spirit come and wash over us. He'll tell us. You see here. But these people are open to something new. Well, I mean, again, if we're going to hear this story, then the question has to come to us, how open are we to hearing something new? Because most of us already know it. I mean, you would be surprised at the people I know that know every verse in the Bible and never even read it. You know what I mean? They already know it. I mean, it's like it doesn't matter what, they've already got it all in their mind. And if you come with something new, that new is automatically, the door has slammed closed. But these people didn't, Jesus didn't just come up because they are hearing something new and they're drawn in and to this new. And then we get the casting out of the demon. But I know that you guys being here with me for a long time have heard a lot of new stuff. Hopefully. Stuff that hopefully has challenged you and made you scratch your head and think, well, he's weird or whatever. But, it's not just going and hearing the same thing over and over and over. So the question to us is, what's a question we can ask out of that? Are we ready to hear something new? And again, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good questions. So here is a question for us. Do I approach my spiritual life with curiosity or with boredom? Because when I read these verses, and I asked you guys the first question, it was silence all around because it almost seems boring. And if you come into these stories with curiosity, man, if you're curious, there's no way you can be bored. We live in a society today that's full of boredom. That's why TikTok rules the roost, because they're bored. And we have wonder all around us, wonder and amazement all around us in everything. We ain't got time for that. We ain't got time for it. So that's a question for us. Do I sit in my chair on Sunday mornings wanting to contend with something new? Because if you're here with something new, then I got to contend with it. Now I got to wrestle with it. Do I really want to come and wrestle with something, or do I expect to be coddled and commended? Okay, we know what you already believe. I'm just going to reinforce it with what you already believe. No need to even read the Bible. But I just want to reinforce you. You believe this, your daddy believed this, your grandpa believed this, and your grandpa's grandpa believed this. There's no need to rock the boat. We all believe the same thing. Boom, we got it wrote down. No need to challenge me with anything new. I don't want to be challenged. I want to be coddled. Right? Most church people want to be coddled. That's what a child does, doesn't it? They just want to be coddled. I don't want to be challenged. I want to be coddled. But this congregation here wasn't into being coddled. And because they wasn't into being coddled, something new could take place there. And now, do y'all believe what I'm telling you here? Okay? You guys are kind of looking at me kind of strange, because I know I was having this conversation last night with a guy that called me up, and I know what we're thinking here is, well, Jesus can do whatever he wants to do because he's Son of God. He can go into any congregation. He can cast out every demon in the whole world. He can do whatever. But have you guys ever read that some places he went to, he could do no mighty work there? Because of their unbelief. But in this place, he does a mighty work. Right? He does a mighty work here. So a lot of times, the reason Jesus could do no mighty work in our presence is not because Jesus is holding back. It's because we ain't open to nothing new. Jesus is going to come my way on my terms and do what I say, or we don't want him. And I know you think I'm being crazy here, but guys, this is the way we operate. Honest to God, it's the way we operate, because, again, we're like praying, oh, Jesus, will you please come and please do this thing? And do you really believe that you have more love and compassion and mercy in your heart than he does in his? And you have to prompt him to do something good? The holdup for the goodness and mercy is us. So immediately when I look at this congregation, I can see a congregation that is open to Jesus' authority, wherein demons are cast out, fame spreads abroad. So I would have to ask, is Jesus allowed in this congregation? And I know we say that, but then I got to go back. How many demons are cast out? So, again, this ought to challenge us and shake us and say, now, wait a minute. Does Jesus, we could say, well, nobody's got a demon. We're going to talk about here in a minute. Nobody has a demon because, we're Protestants. We don't even believe in it. So, I hope this thing racks us around a little bit and challenges us to say, now, wait a minute here. If we're not having this excitement, then is Jesus not exciting? So if Jesus is exciting and I'm not being excited, then what's the problem? The problem is maybe I'm not open to this newness and all of this other stuff. And I know you think, well, yes, we are. I mean, we're Christian people and we're always open to Jesus' newness. Well, see, that's just the demon that's in us that has tricked us. Yeah, not true. So these questions I'm asking you guys, I hope they're hard questions. And I hope they're hard questions to ask yourselves here. I know to ask me because, if we've been Christians very long, these are kind of tough questions because I know how we look at things. And if we've been Christians very long, the new becomes old really quick. And I bet you, if we were all honest, we all know how the world ends. We might not know when, but we all know it's what? Close. And we know how it's going to take place. And you understand, we've got all of this stuff made up in our minds. So when something fresh and new comes, now again, you were wondering what they had been hearing. Now, again, we say Old Testament, and we think immediately, what's our thoughts on that mindset? See, again, we are so conditioned that everything in the Old Testament is old and boring and law and restrictive. We're conditioned that way. Myself, all of you guys are like, so why would you turn to Deuteronomy, Christy? Because you already know it's boring and it's law and it's ugly. But if you knew that when they read Deuteronomy, what was Deuteronomy telling them? My God, your Savior is coming. Now, what was the newness they were hearing? He's here. I mean, do you see the difference? That's why it was new. All they had been reading, Christy, was He's coming. He's coming. Man, our Savior's coming. Our Liberator's coming. Our Messiah is coming. He's coming. He's coming. Now, was that boring? Maybe it can get like, how long? You've been telling us every Sunday He's coming. He's coming. And, huh?
In what form, too? Was He coming? Because He came in person.
Yeah. Yeah.
We wasn't thinking that lines either.
Yeah. Well, they had no idea. And then all of a sudden, He's here. So see, don't just say that Deuteronomy and Exodus is old and it's law and it's boring. Understand the context. You know why? Because we've been told that. I even had a guy divide the Bible up and he says, brother, right here, that's the Old Testament. We live in the New Testament. No need to read that. And I'm telling you, it's all full of life. It's full of it. So that was the difference in them reading those stories. Okay? So our tendency is once we've been Christians a little long, that the new becomes old, that the fresh becomes familiar. We know it. And then what happens? This is what we always do. The heart hunkers down for the long haul. And we forget that Jesus makes all things new. Right? Now we forget that. So do you realize that it was your right? Do you know what a right is? You guys got rights as being citizens. I know you guys probably know more about being a citizen of the United States than being a citizen of heaven, a citizen of the kingdom. You guys know there are rights that you have as citizens of the kingdom. It was your right to come here today to expect all things new. It was your right. You had a right to expect that. I'm asking you, that's the question for you. And I mean, honestly, we don't even know what our rights is. Your right is to come here expecting Jesus to amaze you. That's your right. That's your privilege, right? I mean, this is part of your inheritance as being God's children, about being God's citizens of the kingdom. This is your privilege. You have the right to expect Jesus, whose name is wonderful, to amaze you. Or you can expect Jesus to show up in the same old way that he did all along. You know what I mean? And you can close the door and say, I only want Jesus to show up this way, and limit him in his wonder. I know that's amazing, but that's a right that you have. So the audience here in Mark's gospel is amazed. They are astounded by the work of God because they allow Jesus to be unfamiliar in their midst. And you know what, guys? This shouldn't be the anomaly. Jesus is amazing, and I know, when we allow him to be amazing. And I know we're thinking, well, wait a minute, Jesus can be amazing even when I want to. Listen, he is amazing. His name is wonderful, but do you know what we do with it? It's you and me who turn the blind eye to it. It's you and me who won't receive it. Now, I'm not stopping him from being amazing and wonderful. He is amazing and wonderful, but you can turn a blind eye to it. You can say, I don't want to play. I don't want to participate in it. You know? And that's what we do. I mean, that is your birthright. It's God's children. Birthright. Imagine that. Birthright. So let's look at this man with the unclean spirit. So let's get the obvious out of the way and admit that I have no idea what the spirit is in this story. I know it's unclean. Now, some commentaries recast this demon as a mental illness or a medical condition like epilepsy. Do you guys buy that? You say no? Anybody else? Yeah. Well, let me ask you guys this. I mean, these are controversial topics. Most of the times people don't talk about them. If they do, they want to argue. What do you guys take? What do you think the unclean spirit is? I mean, it says here, you know, this man's got an unclean spirit. And it says this unclean spirit cries out, what business do you have with us, Jesus of Nazareth? What do you think? I mean, do you guys, are you amazed? Do you guys got questions? Are you like me? Have you not struggled with this for a long time? Maybe I'm the dumbest Christian that ever lived, but I struggle with these things, guys. I really, truly do. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I don't know what these things are. What's your take? Could be what? Bad thoughts? Again, I mean, I'm just asking, what are you guys? You guys don't think about it? Maybe if you don't think about it, it'll go away. I mean, you went to the church service, and there was an unclean spirit talking out of this guy, and Jesus cast him out, and this unclean spirit and Jesus are having a conversation, and all of the people in the audience. So I don't know if you guys are part of the audience that's amazed, or the guy with the unclean spirit, or you're Jesus. There's only 3 characters here in this story. So, you was the one running out the back door? Okay, so here we go. So now Satan, the unclean spirit. Anybody else? What's your thoughts on this? See, these things a lot of times we don't talk about. We don't really want to talk about them.
We know there's such a thing because Jesus cast them out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what that.
Yeah, I'm just trying to say, well, what are they?
If their world was anything like the one that we thinking it had to be as bad or worse, they were destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would say it had something to do with unclean between, well, I don't even know how to put that. We have nothing but, I mean, 50% of the humans on this earth now,
Mm-hmm.
excuse me, have one or two things on their mind when they get up in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
It has to either be money
Uh-huh.
or sex.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that the uncleanness that comes from something that he's either doing with money or, I don't know, that would be my guess.
Well, immorality. We're going down a road here, and I guess this is kind of what my thought here, because you know how society kind of takes, unclean spirits, demon possession, kind of those things, and these are things I guess maybe Protestants don't talk about, because this is what Protestants do. If we don't know anything about it, we don't talk about it. We keep our beliefs to ourselves. But this guy was possessed, I guess, with an unclean spirit. Is that a fair assessment to make? The guy's possessed with an unclean spirit. My question is, can people today be possessed with unclean spirits? Everybody says yes. What about Christian people? Yes. So what are these unclean spirits? Are they of the devil? Are they, where do they come from? Joe says yes. I don't know. Do you guys think about these things and talk about them? You do? What's?
What I wonder about is,
How do you tell? Okay. Jeff, I think that is a profound question. Profound.
I used to wonder the same thing.
And
There is a spot in there, though, there is a place where it's like try the spirits.
mm-hmm.
Try the spirits. And that's
Yeah,
kind of
I
like,
mean there is in 1 John. It says try the spirits, see where. But still, that thing is very vague, because I'm thinking, how do I try them?
what Kathy said is just, all he did was speak up and say,
What you were doing for us? Yeah.
but when it came out, it tore him. Said it was, torn and then cried out. So it,
Mm-hmm.
in a way, it had to be a painful thing at the same time. But
Mm-hmm.
he didn't say he was going crazy. And mostly, I haven't studied a lot of this, but a bit. It's what we think would be somebody that's absolutely wonderful.
Uh-huh.
And there's something, within yourself, though, something's wrong with that person. You can feel it. I really believe you can feel it when something's wrong. You may not know it's a demon spirit, but you know something's not there.
Well,
And if there isn't, I'm going to stay away from it.
so some of the commentaries say that maybe it was a medical condition and this guy had epilepsy. Anybody buy that? Anybody go that route? Everybody says no here.
Also which they don't specify that either. Drugs and alcohol, that's an evil spirit.
Uh-huh. So nobody's buying epilepsy. I'm rowing my boat along, Jeff. You want to get in my boat with me? Rowing my boat? Okay.
I would if it was somebody besides Jesus who.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ultimately, it be anything.
What's that, Denise?
Wouldn't it ultimately boil down to anything that is not of him?
Uh-huh.
It can branch out into a million different things.
Yeah, I'm riding in your boat. I'm riding in your boat with you. Yeah, I'm with you.
People that puts their babies in microwaves and kills them.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be something a lot bigger than
But now, let me ask you guys a question. Where is this dude at? Oh, my God, I didn't think we could have a demon-possessed person in the church, yeah? I didn't think we could have that. My God, this guy's right there on the Sabbath in with the crowd. And, well, why didn't anybody else notice? No, I mean, I'm sure this guy's been going for a long time, but nobody else even noticed, did they, Denise? Until Jesus.
We're all the same. Because he said us. He didn't say that. Reason they didn't recognize.
Yeah.
That's what I was just saying earlier. There's so many that probably we walk with. No.
Uh-huh. And you know, this is the thing that Kathy said, there's probably so many that walk among us. But still yet, for me, the avenue for me into this story is not in the audience, because I'm telling you what, I haven't been amazed by Jesus in a long, long time, my own fault. The avenue for me in this story and reading it is from the position of this demon-possessed guy. Now your doors may be different. Your doorway into this story may be different, but I can identify with this guy more than I can the other people.
It doesn't really say if he asked for that.
He didn't ask for it.
Well, it doesn't give.
There's a confrontation going on.
Okay, so where did he like stand up and go head to head with you?
Well, now, Kathy, you're asking questions. Now you're coming into the story. This is what I want you to do. Like, where was the guy sitting? What? Now you're coming into the story. See, before when we read it, it was just words on the page. But now it's like, yeah, wonder what kind of shirt this dude had on. Yeah, did he say, I'm possessed?
They weren't amazed.
Huh?
No, until it did happen, they weren't amazed until that happened, right?
Well, and what amazed them was this new teaching. Again, so this new teaching is coming with authority, and this new teaching is also confrontational, because I'm assuming this guy had been coming to church with them for a long time. And they didn't even know. But yet in the presence of authority, this demon hollers out at Jesus, what are you doing here? What do you want with me? Now beforehand, the guy was just a part of the congregation. There was no challenge. There was no nothing. He was just going along with the flow. But once Jesus and new teaching showed up, new teaching, now we got a problem, right? When this new teaching got involved, now we got a problem. And this guy cries out, this demon. I mean, it says, what business? This unclean spirit hollers at Jesus, what are you doing here?
He couldn't stand to be in the presence of Jesus.
Couldn't stand to be in the presence of Jesus. Now, yeah. Now, some commentaries say this. Now, I'm with this, and you got to give me a little leeway here, because I know I want you to understand with culture. Because when I say something here, don't jump on one bandwagon, because I'm not going to unname Satan as a non-entity. I thought I explained that a while back when we were having a discussion. Because I know what we thought, we would just say, well, Satan is the carnal mind. That's kind of how we grew up being a primitive Baptist. Okay, but I have seen the destruction that Satan can bring about. And to understand this, a lot of times it's needful to name it. Okay? I mean, to name something. That's why it's important that Satan has a name. It's not the Satan. Okay, it's always the Satan. But here's what these other ones says. The New Testament, these are metaphors for anything that might possess or control us, like anger, like fear, like lust, like greed, like hatred, like envy. They possess us and they control us. And because of that, they are destructive. They can be very destructive. They are people who are possessed with social media. Possessed with it. Possessed. Now we would think, no. And then what happens with social media? It becomes destructive. You can destroy people with social media, right? People get sued because you made a post about me, or I posted about you, and we're fighting, we're suing, and I tweeted something, right? We can, boom. I mean, our government's run through tweets.
Don't you think though, like when something gets hold of you like that, that it leads to a lot of other things? The destruction is not just what you can do on social media, because your head is already not where it's supposed to be. It's on something else. So you can branch out into all kinds of different, okay, call it sins or whatever. Because one thing, when it possesses you that much, there's nothing else that matters.
Yeah. That's right. So again, you see, we get the Hollywood version of possession and what it looks like versus what real possession looks like, and that's why we can't differentiate. Yeah.
I think one thing to keep in mind about this situation is the legion, all those spirits, he wouldn't bid them to go anywhere but into the swine. Now, there was a possibility after you told that spirit to be quiet. They and the swine couldn't even take them. They wouldn't even lay convert. That's something to think about in this situation.
Yeah. I mean, how about is a person that's a workaholic, are they possessed? I mean, because basically what do they want to do? I mean, they want success. So I got to have more money, more money, more money, more money. And you become, we will say those words, man, he's possessed. We could come to Jeff and say, well, Jeff is possessed with music. It's all he wants to do. And that's a word that we would use, not meaning, well, Jeff has got a demon, but there are people possessed with music and it kills them. It kills them. How many great musicians, great artists are dead because of the drugs and alcohol and the things that came with the trying to seek the fame. They had such great talents that just brought artistry and music and poetry to life through song.
Music that killed him, it was all the rest of the stuff.
That's right. They had become possessed with it. We would use that word. Now, what I'm telling you, does that negate the fact that that is demonic? I'm going to argue the point that it does not, because the demonic part of that holds true. So I'm not doing away with it, but what I'm saying is the Hollywood version is not the real life version, and all of us can become possessed with many things. Paul would write all things in moderation. Did he not write that? He wrote that, all things in moderation, because it's real easy for us. You can be possessed with religion and have it kill you and those around you. You can.
He was possessed with the law.
You can. You really can. You can become possessed with something that is good, and it turned to death. So again, here is a warning to us. And here is something else too. You can experience trauma, and then fear can possess you through that trauma. And then it can produce anxieties and all kinds of stuff that you can't even. Does anybody know anybody that's ever had an anxiety attack? Okay. Do you know them personally? Maybe it's you? You? Okay, let me ask you a question. During that time of an anxiety attack, do you have control of your faculties? Or are you just like, hey man, I'm having an anxiety attack, but everything is cool? Okay. So in other words, something has came over you that is more powerful than you, if you guys believe that. And I'm going to say I believe it, because something has came over you just like a sickness. Okay, you didn't want to be sick, but it was more powerful than you. And except for the grace of God, right, you didn't have, there you were. It attacked you. Anxiety attacked you. There you were.
And it's always something from the head, but it always affects the body.
Well, my point is, it's more powerful than you. Okay? So whatever possesses us is more powerful than us. Right? So when it comes in, it takes control of us. So in other words, we're slaves to it. So if we're slaves to it, notice Jesus was one that had, there's a word there, authority. Because what happened to you? You didn't have no more authority. You was sick, Denise, you didn't have authority over it, did you? You was anxiety, you didn't have authority. But Jesus came into the synagogue and he had authority.
How much of that can you say about being like a devil, like that anxiety? Because it says that he don't have power over us unless we get it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I agree with that, and it says exactly that. But sometimes people don't realize what authority they're given. Right. When they don't realize it.
Well, I mean, we're asking some good questions here. Because one, we're having a discussion about authority. And one, I think we all have to admit there's things come into our life that we can't control. That are more powerful than us. And if we're kidding ourselves to think we got all authority. Jesus has all authority.
About peace. I said, some people come in and know what button to push to take your peace. But if you don't allow that button, if you don't react to that button, they can't take your peace.
Mm-hmm.
The disciples that he sent out was even amazed that even the spirits obeyed them.
That's right. He gave them authority. Yeah. Now remember, guys, this is Mark chapter 1. We're just starting out in this gospel story. So one of the first things I'm understanding here is there's some authority involved over some things that can possess us and take control over us. So,
Super quiet, timid people too, and they look so
Paul,
sometimes.
Paul even said the things that it would do it do not, things that it wouldn't do it do.
yeah.
Thought I was saying.
So Paul was possessed.
Yeah. I think Paul was possessed, Jeff. That's a good point, because what did he do? He was having men put to death. If that's not being possessed with something, he was committing murder.
That has to be a demonic spirit. I mean, come on.
And he thought he was doing right. And he's having men put to death. Yeah. So again, great point. Great point. So when I try to imagine my way into the life of this man with the unclean spirit, what disturbs me about this is not who or what spirit it is, but how it utterly ravages this man. It tears this poor man whose body and mind it possesses. I mean, it tears him, right?
It's the mind first, and then the body, always.
So if this spirit tears this man and wears this man out, then this man doesn't have a voice of his own. Right? He doesn't even have a voice of his own. The Spirit speaks for him. Now look at this. Let me read this. Just then there was a man in the synagogue with an unclean spirit, and he cried out, saying, "What business do you have with us, Jesus of Nazareth?" Now notice what he says. What business do you have with who? Us. He didn't say me. He said us. Jesus of Nazareth, you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God. I mean, this guy doesn't even have a voice of his own. It's the possession that is speaking. This man doesn't even have any control over his own body because, the Spirit convulses him, it says there.
It sounds like that he felt like that everybody else had the same spirit that he did too.
Could be.
All of his spirits.
Mhm.
I think it was everything that he had in him. It couldn't way more than one unclean spirit.
Uh-huh. Well, so I'm hoping that I've shown you that things can possess you that are more powerful than you. Okay, now let me read this. This is from Romans chapter 7. Know ye not, verse 16, Romans chapter 6, verse 16. I'm just going to read it out of the King James. Know ye not that to whom ye yield yourselves servants to obey, his servants ye are to whom ye obey, whether of sin unto death or of obedience unto righteousness. Now, this is King James language. It's hard to get a hold of. But God be thanked that ye were servants to sin. But ye have obeyed from the heart that form of doctrine which was delivered you. Being then made free from sin. Okay. Being then made free from sin. So Paul is talking about, remember Jesus comes on the scene. You'll know the truth. The truth will make you free. We quote it. It's one of the most quoted verses ever. And then those guys argue and says, free, we're free. And Jesus says, no, you that serve sin, or the sin of the servants of sin. Paul writes this. Being then made free from sin, you became servants of righteousness. That's King James language. But I think it bodes well that we need to determine something here. You mentioned earlier, try the spirits. We don't know what spirit we're of, and then sin. For you guys, what would be your definition? It says here, you are free from sin. What does sin mean to you? Because if we don't have a working definition of it, then you don't even know what you're free from. And you know, a lot of people will transfer from the jail at Tazewell to the jail at Pocahontas and think they're free. You just went to another jail. You know.
That's a tough word, and I will tell you that I had definitions my whole life.
Of sin.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But what I would call sin, it wouldn't mean anything to anyone else, probably, because it's not things. Sin is who we are.
Okay, sin is who so
I believe that. I don't believe that there's, I mean, my goodness, you could go down the line. Like I said, as a kid, I heard every single thing in the world. According to them.
well, in these verses, Kathy, whatever this sin is has authority over the people. Sin unto death. It has authority, and it says you were obedient to that authority, but now, so it was a ruler, and rulers have influence over you. Okay, so we're reading like anxiety attacks, the sickness. They come in and they rule over us if we give them that place, right? So now Paul writes, you've been made free from sin. But we don't know what that is because we can't put a definition to the word sin. So I'm asking you guys, when you read that verse, how would you define that? Because if you can't, then you don't know what you're made free of.
Whatever, yeah, that's starting to say, whatever they know in themselves that isn't of God and isn't right.
Yeah.
See, that's how I would even define sin, but that's only mine, because everybody else has their own definition, like I said.
Well, that's what I mean. You're saying everybody has their own definition, but I'm still not getting a definition here, because what have you been made free of?
If it ain't God, it's sin.
If it ain't, but how do you know? Because Paul thought he was doing good and was having people put to death. And we got verses in the Old Testament that says kill all the Amalekites. My God, I can pull up verses and say, William, the Bible says go kill the enemies.
We know we pass from death unto life because we love the brethren.
So this Greek word here, sin, this harmatia, I mean, that's the Greek word. We translated it sin. I mean, how would you give me a working definition of this? I mean, Paul says you're free from it. You got to know what you're free from. What are you free from? I mean, it's hard because honestly, most of us aren't even challenged. So we might give it a definition like some people might say, well, Jeff, I'm free from smoking. I smoked for 40 years and God freed me from sin. Smoking is a sin. Okay, so what is this sin that comes in and ravages the human being, takes authority over the human being, and destroys the human being?
Whatever they allow lack of knowledge of who you are in Christ Jesus.
Okay.
They allow that to destroy them.
So, again, give me a definition of sin. The Bible does. Huh? Sin, missing the mark. Okay. Is there not a verse that says all have sinned? Okay. Come short of what? The glory of God. Would that be something to give us a hint as to what sin is? Because sin is not the glory of God, right? Okay, so now, in order to understand this, I need to know what the glory of God is. Because sin is falling short of the glory of God. So, what is the glory of God? Jeff says Christ, but I need something. I need to know what this is. What is the glory of God? Oh, I know what it is. I'm asking you. When was the glory of God put on display? Wow. Is that not the total opposite of anything that we would see in our society today? Because glory for us would be great crowds and great announcements and great praise and great glory. But the glory of God, the greatest display of the glory of God is Christ, but not in his healing miracles, not in him walking on the water. It's him being crucified. Now, what is that? Again, I'm bringing this down to rubber meets the road. What was the cross? What did that mean? What was the ultimate thing of that? That's the glory of God. What is it? Finish sin and death. But what did the cross, what did Jesus say about the cross? Are you invited to participate in the glory of God? You are, because he said, take up your cross and follow me. So you are invited to participate in the glory of God. Now remember what's on the backside of this. We've all sinned and come short of the glory of God. Now you're telling me, I hope you all agree, that the glory of God is the cross of Jesus Christ. Now what did that mean? What did the cross mean? Now, why are you invited into it? Huh? You're crucified with him, but it means something. I want to get down out of the Bible here into where the rubber meets the road. What does the cross mean? No, we're giving religious answers. What does it mean? What does it mean? Was the cross a selfish gesture? There we go. That's the ultimate in glory. When I lay down my life one for another. So now, on the backside of that, what is sin? Pow! Sin is when I seek my own first. Does that make sense here? I know that's a long way about it. So anything that I do that seeks my own first, if I put me ahead of you, sin. Right? Anything. I mean, and what did Jesus say? Is there another way? There's not another way. Any other way is sin. Again, so So you understand the doorway here that lets this possession, because what Paul is writing here is that we were under the influence, and I'm just going to use a simple word, of selfishness, so much so, and we had no power to overcome the selfishness. Now, what was the selfishness doing? It was destroying each and every one of us. Because you know that if you're selfish, it's going to destroy you and your family and everybody about you. And when your community's selfish, your nation is selfish, it just goes on and destroys everything in its path. So, this sin here that you're free from is the sin of being selfish. Now, most church people are not free, because they still want their own glory, their own whatever. And you understand what I'm saying? And every time you do that, you open up the door for that thing to become more possessive of you until it utterly destroys you. Okay? So, does that make sense in this picture here? So sin may end with smoking and drinking and cussing and swarping and all the things they tell us to, but in its ultimate, it's selfishness. Because it's not the glory of God, because the glory of God is God so loved that He gave. That's the glory. So you and I are freed from selfishness. Now what are we free to do? To give, to lay our life down. And he calls that righteousness here.
And we're also free to be possessed by what we...
Well, yes. See, you can be possessed by selfishness, or you can be possessed by righteousness. Now again, we could go to Galatians. I could read to you what it says about righteousness and life, but they were the same thing. So now he's given you life. Why? So that you can lay it down. God, so you can lay it down. And I thought it was so that I could go to the top. No, it's so that you could lay it down. That's right. That's right. So, now, back in the story here, I know this picture of possession is extreme, but all of us suffer under the bondage of spirits that diminish us. Because everything we do, we're tempted to do this for selfish reasons. We're not out of it, Joe. Everything you do. You make money, you go to work, you're tempted to buy a new shirt, I do, and a new shoes for yourself. And, we all do it. Right? We all do it. And I know you're thinking, well, it's impossible. Well, guys, Jesus did nothing for himself. Nothing. Again, that ought to amaze you. He did nothing for himself. No, he did nothing. The words that I speak are not mine. The things that I do are not mine. He was in. That ought to amaze you right there and just make you go, oh my God, because when's the last time that you've did something that didn't have a selfish motive involved? And so now I can remember this story here because, man, I've been demon possessed. I've been possessed with selfishness. And in that, I think all of us know what it's like to lose control and dignity to forces that are too powerful for us to defeat on our own. You get anxiety attacks. What happens? You get sick. What happens? You get sick. What happens? You can't control the color of your own body. People will say, oh, Denise, you look pale. You can't control snot coming out of your nose. You can't control coughing, and you can't control it, can you? I wish you could, but you can't because it's too powerful. Well, sin can be too powerful for us. And the only way out to freedom is the cross. How? So can you see here what's going on? And with all of these forces that are too powerful for us that start out and we think are really good, takes our dignity, takes everything away from us, it possesses us. And all of us know what it's like to cede control to these demon spirits that makes our lives unmanageable. Because they do. Because every selfish thing we do, we're ceding control to them demons. And eventually they're going to wreck our house. They will. They will. Anything that you do that's selfish is opening the door. And I know that's hard to believe, but we do have a Savior, okay? Whether we regard such forces as spiritual, psychological, biological, cultural, this story tells us true things about how unclean spirits affect and manipulate all of our lives. In Mark's story, the unclean spirit goes to the synagogue, listens to Jesus. It recognizes Jesus before anybody else did. Nobody else knew it was Jesus, but the unclean spirit did. Because there's a contradiction here. It knows the contradiction. This unclean spirit calculates the stakes, realizes that Jesus' presence signals its doom, and puts up a fight before it surrenders. Does any of this sound familiar? Sometimes our unclean spirits, now remember, what are our unclean spirits? Anything that we do that's selfish. We all got them. Sometimes our unclean spirits take up residence in our holy places, and we carry our destructive habits, our destructive tendencies right into our churches, right into our friendships, right into our families, right into our marriages, right into our relationships, right into our workplaces. We carry them into our holy places. And sometimes our demons, our fears, our addictions, our sins, our compulsions recognize Jesus first because they know that an encounter with the Holy One of God will change everything. And we don't want to change nothing. I like it the way it is. They make us draw back as soon as Jesus shows up. Maybe Jesus shows up in a loving friend. Maybe a sermon that, maybe in a book you read, maybe in a statement that you hear, maybe in a conscience that's pierced.
Maybe when you're sitting at home and you hear the Lord himself tell you.
Yeah.
He only healed one at that meeting.
Yeah, that's right. Sometimes our lives actually get harder when we move towards healing. Right? I mean, honestly, we'll see that as we go through the scriptures. Our lives get harder when we move towards healing. Because unclean spirits always fight harder when the time is up. Let me read you a verse here. Let me go over here to this last book of the Bible. Now salvation and power and the kingdom of our God and the authority of his Christ have come. What's this sermon about? We've been talking about authority here. Whose authority? Now, remember, all you guys were either servants to sin or servants to righteousness. Somebody has authority, and it's Jesus. But the unclean spirits, they had some authority, but they knew somebody with greater authority. It's because Revelation. Now salvation, power, kingdom of God, and the authority of his Christ has come. Now, what is this salvation? What does that mean here in the book of Revelation? What does it mean anywhere? This salvation. Salvation from what? Present evil world? What did they need saved from? Well, I mean, they needed salvation, Denise, from these powers and these demons and these spirits that were causing them to destroy themselves. Am I making sense here? So again, let me read this. now the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God and the authority of his Christ have come. Now, who are these powers? Here they are. For the accuser of our brothers and sisters has been thrown down. Do you know what that word accuser is? Translated in the Greek? It means Satan. So the Satan of our brothers is cast down. Why is he cast down? Because somebody stronger than him showed up. Right? Because the kingdom and the authority and somebody with greater authority came in. See, this guy in the synagogue was fine. He was ruling the rooster-teeth. But somebody that even everybody recognized comes in. And so we got a power thing going on, don't we? It's not a struggle, but I'm saying when this true power comes, there's confrontation. And most of the times in church, there's no confrontation because there's no real authority. But when you got two chiefs, somebody's got to go. And Jesus is showing up saying, hey, you got to go. Now see, this other guy knew that, right? This other unclean spirit knew that. And he's the first one to recognize it. So here in Revelation, the accuser of our brothers has been thrown down, and the one who accuses them before God, for our God day and night, and they overcome him because of the blood of the Lamb. What's that a reference to? The cross. And because of the word of their testimony, and they did not love their life even when faced with death. In other words, what are they doing? How did they overcome? They laid their life down. Wow. I mean,
How many churches in the whole area do you know that don't teach the actual meaning of it? How many are preaching things? This is, this,
Uh-huh.
and this, and this. Yeah, but it's things.
So again, what is it that brings, so we can get up and lay hands, oh, Jeff's got a demon and he's slobbering, and we can lay hands on him. That's all Hollywood stuff. What really, where Jeff is going to gain power in his life, I'm just using Jeff, when Jeff begins to lay his life down one for another. That's when he's going to begin to overcome. According to Scripture, right? It's not magic. It's like when you begin to take the cross, now these things that possess us begin to lose authority. And trust me, they're going to fight. They're going to fight more and more and more because they've had it for so long. So here's a question to us, and I'm going to be done here in just a minute. What possesses us? The question is to you, what possesses you? Just to give you an example, I know what possesses me. One of the things is not being good enough. I always fight that battle. I want to be a good preacher. I would like to have a whole lot of people come and say, wow, I enjoyed your sermon. This is really good. I love that. And there you go. Yeah. It really is self-serving. It really, and see what I mean? And then what happens? It can be destructive. But honestly, when you go back to relationship, and it'd be like Tim coming in here, and Tim is going to teach the service, and what Tim is going to teach on is Denise. Well, Tim don't have to really study or nothing. He's had 40 years of experience, and he can just tell you shoe size and what she likes to eat and when she goes to bed and oh, wow. Because you live with her. Right? You know what I mean? So, you go back because, yes, Jeff, you can be possessed. Yeah, I think that's good, Jeff, because when we understand, hey, I got some problems, I'm possessed with a few things, then that opens the door for some healing. Dad mentioned it earlier. You see, that's what the demon wants to tell you. Honestly, it really does. But what happened when they came out of Egypt and went into the wilderness? They had so much food, it was coming out their nose. They had so much water, it was coming out of the rock. You know what I mean? They had a cloud that with them kept them cool in the day, gave them. But you see, you can't know that until you come out, because our first thing is, well, my God, if I do that, I'm going to lose everything.
It's not. I don't think.
And that's the stumbling stone, Jeff, to the cross.
It is, because I don't think people actually think about like one thing at a time, like what you would have to give up or whatever. Never thought about what I would have to give up.
Well, what did Jesus have to give up?
Everything
You see, until there's a death,
is life,
there's no resurrection.
right?
And what's the one thing that we don't want to do?
We don't like that.
We don't want to die. Who does? And I'm like, God, if you didn't want me to die, why did you put this tenacity in me to want to live? It's a stumbling stone. It's a tension right there. And that's where we find ourselves, Jeff.
It does come easier though with like with your family. You got no doubt in your mind, do you? You will die for it. And other people, just people in general, if you were out.
Hey, that's in the Bible.
Yes.
Because he said, hey, they'll lay their life down for a righteous man, but what about the unrighteous? And Jesus died for those who hated him. It's like, you're crazy. Yes, that's the point.
Because there are people who won't go out in public, and if something happens, they won't intervene because they don't want to get involved. I'm one of the stupid ones that would probably get right in the middle.
Now,
But that I call that my stupidity. But it's because people are all the same. I don't care. We're all human. We're all
Mhm.
and you love no matter what because you have empathy
Mhm.
for everybody. And that is that whole laying your life down. Now would I get shot?
well, I mean, honestly,
I'd be going, no, go, go that way, whatever.
You-
Wouldn't want to ever.
you go back and look, like Dad mentioned in the Gospel of John. Jeff questioned, how do you know when you begin to love people more than yourself? This is how we know we've passed from death unto life, because we love the brethren. And let me that would pose questions, and it should. Well, who's my brethren? Everybody that you encounter is your brother. And when you begin to love them more than yourself, and you begin to look and say, my God, I mean, you look hungry. This is my last dollar, but here's you.
Give it all. Exactly. That.
You know, this is living this life. It's
It's not death as far as like a physical death, but it's also dying to the things of the world. That's something we're supposed to do every day.
And the things of the world, Christy, are this. It all comes down to being selfish. Because the world is always gimme, mine, me. My house is bigger than yours. I got more money than you. My car's bigger than you. That's, if you get it right down to it, that's the world. And we are called out of that. And the strange thing about it is we lay our life down for them silly people.
Raise your hand if you're qualified.
Yeah.
What do?
I mean, this is that's why he said, take up your cross daily and follow me. And you know, as you begin to live this, then as you find this, then you begin to discover resurrection life. You really do.
Yeah. And if you want inner peace, there's no way that we can ever tell ourselves, like, well, I need to do this and this and this. All you got to do is, if you think you're wrong on something, just ask.
Let me read you another verse here. In Revelation 13, they worshiped the dragon because he gave his authority to the beast. Who is the beast? Who? Man. Well, I'm going to go a step farther and say that the beast is our global economic system. Reading from Revelation, because how does the global economic system work? It always takes from the poor, oppresses the poor, puts more demand on you, and where does all the money end up? With the rich. So, look here. So the dragon gives his authority to the beast, and the beast is always wanting slavery and all of this and this, war and all of this other stuff. We could go through Revelation and I could show that to you, but for time's sake. And they worship the beast, saying, who is like the beast and who is able to wage war with him? But yet we just read somebody else showed up who has. Because what you're giving me is all the excuses of who can make war with him. I mean, what can we do? I mean, there's nothing we can do about the poor in our community, are there? There's nothing we can do about the homeless. There's nothing who can make war with the beast? There's nothing we can do about the drug addiction in Tazewell County, are there, William? There's nothing who can make war with the beast? That's what we're saying. Who can make war?
Basically, that same
That's the question, isn't it? Who can make war with the beast? Now, once you have the question, now sit in the congregation when one shows up who has authority, whose right it is. And then you watch what happens to the beast who says, oh my God, I recognize who you are. Are you here to destroy us? I mean, do you see here? So, let me keep going here. Mark never tells us what Jesus teaches the audience that day. All we know is that he enters the temple, speaks with authority, and his listeners find him astonishing, and he underscores that authority with an exorcism. I think the story offers us a couple of plausible takeaways. First, Jesus doesn't use his authority to increase his social status or to consolidate power. He uses it only to heal, only to set free, only to empower those around him. Another way, he wanted to empower the other people. Maybe that's why his audience finds him so compelling, because his authority is as a servant king. He wanted to empower others. The power of the world is we want to take charge. He wanted to empower others. He's got no political power, no earthly throne or kingdom to speak of, but he has an integrity that's irresistible. Secondly, Jesus steps directly into the pain, into the rage, into the ugliness, and the horror at the heart of the story. This man with the unclean spirit. Jesus isn't squeamish. He doesn't flinch. His brand of holiness doesn't require him to keep his hands clean. He comes into the fear. When you're sick, Denise, he doesn't stand off. He's in it with you. You know, he's in it. He's in the pain. I love that. He's in the sickness. He's in the nightmare. And he's ready to do battle. Because in the sickness, oh my God, who can make war with the beast? And he comes in. He's ready to do battle, ready to engage anything that diminishes and degrades the lives of those he loves. And yeah, he preaches with great effectiveness to the faithful, but he also speaks the unclean language, the Spirit's language, the unclean spirit's language. He listens to the unclean spirit. He listens to its cries, and he rebukes it for the sake of the broken man's health and sanity. Think about the question the unclean spirit asked. What business do you have with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Think about that question. And there's only one answer. So I'm asking you, what business do you have with us, Jesus of Nazareth? What's the answer to that question? And there was silence in heaven for the sake. For that, yeah. I mean, that question is written down. I mean, what business does Jesus have to do with you? Life? I mean, what's a one-word answer? Everything. What does Jesus have to do with you? Everything. Everything. Jesus is saying, I have everything to do with you. Wherever there's pain, wherever there's darkness, wherever there's torment, wherever there's sickness, God has everything to do with us, especially when we're at our worst. So may we, like the audience in the synagogue, recover holy amazement. May we, like the man with the unclean spirit, fight our way towards freedom. And may we, like Jesus, speak words of love and healing into the world's pain. That's where we are. So, I'm going to quit with that. Any questions or comments? No questions or comments? You guys got it? Ready for the 10-question test? Next week, we're going to be walking on the water. Matthew's Gospel, chapter 14. We're going to see where that takes us. And again, go into that story, read that story, let the water hit you in the face a little bit, and then we'll come